The word APAYIM in Hebrew, translated really long nostrils, is what it means, but it means a person who is not angry, not pushing. APAYIM means patience. And so Rebbe SCHICK, who wrote this book, and based on the teachers, of course, of Rebbe NACHMAN and BRESLOV, all BRESLOV ideas really beautifully laid out. And he takes on different topics here that require patience. The patience that comes as a result of realizing that Hashem Yisbarach is inside of everything, outside of everything, and the cause of everything, and in fact He is everything. We are His servants. And one of the statements that he made in the introduction was this statement: Adam la'amol noiled. Man was born, that is us, born into this world to struggle, to work hard, and to toil. That's the nature of this world. It's a dangerous world, and a world which requires us to figure out how to make a living. And so the first thing he talks about is Parnassa. Because how is it that a person, especially when you're younger, and when I was reading this book, I was in desperate shape. He started talking about how to focus on what the truth is, what is the real reality here, what it takes in order to be able to make a Parnassa. We're here for a short time in this world. And so even though that it looks like a tremendous bounty and that we want to enjoy every single thing because there's so much, but on the other hand, we're on the outside of it. We have to attain it. And if that becomes our whole life, well, so how do we handle Parnassa? The person who's starting out in life, who doesn't have a career, doesn't have a rich parent. What are you going to do? So here we come to the concept of Parnassa, and let's see if we can get a little bit more from Rav SCHICK and try to get a little bit closer to this page. It's an old book, old print. So he said, Im tishal lama bara kodesh baruch kach. Why did Kodesh Baruch Hu create like this? Shetetzarek levakesh b'kol pam parnassascha, that you have to constantly be looking for your Parnassa. B'yigil lecha b'kushi, and it only comes to you with a lot of effort, of gvedas. It's very heavy, dark work, hard work. Of a merivas kazeh, and like different kinds of bitternesses that you have to go through in order to be able to make a living. Tzarek sheteda, so you have to know this. So what they say, that all of this is happening, the difficulty that you have in life, is because the Kodesh Baruch Hu actually loves you. And He's waiting. He's waiting to hear your voice. That you should seek Him, and that you speak to Him as if you were a little child. Father, give me lechem la'achol lebeged lilvay. Now in Kabbalah, this concept is called mayim nukvin, female waters. That as we realize that all our bracha comes from prayer, from the prayer that we bring for the bottom. So clothing to wear. So therefore He holds back, He holds back the Yukadesh, so that you should really spend time seeking Him. Again, this is Mayim Nukvin. It's what makes the world go round. Because He's waiting. He's sitting there silently to be able to hear your voice. But so you have to know this, all of the worlds. Everything is not the same by Him. I'm not sure what he meant by all the worlds, but let's go on. It was a quote, really. So let's go back over and translate. Everything is not equal by Him. I'm not sure what that means. Like for this moment. In other words, everything is not always the same. Things change. That one soul, one person, who we have, our neshamos, are with inside of us. It's a godliness with inside of us, but it's clothed in a physical body that has to make a living. and it's kind of surrounded always with different kinds of troubles, v'yisurim and pain, the bilbulim, confusion, omen, the bevakesh. So the man needs to stand and seek this phrase, Abba, tain li parnassa, v'nefashos atuluyim bi. Give me a parnassa, and also for those other souls, my family, that are dependent on me. Besifri, in Parshas Ba'aloscha, he says like this: Rebbe Shimon Omer b'vnecha b'mal lo hoya yored man pam ba'am achad b'shama. Why is it that Hashem made it so that the man didn't just come once a year and you could take it, you could store it up? In order that shehafcho, they should return their hearts to their Father in heaven. So this is like a marshal that we can look at. There was a king who made a decree that his son, the prince, would have his parnassa one time a year. He gave him $1 million a year. But his father didn't see him. He never saw him for the whole year, or just that one day he showed up. Ella b'shas parnassa, he only came in that one time when he needed the parnassa. This is the nature of people. So one time he thought, let's not do it like that. Let's give him money every single day. So the son said like that, even if I only see him when I get my money, my parnassa, that's enough for me. So let's a person had 5 sons, the cables of 5 daughters. The person is sitting there. He's sitting there and he's looking out. Maybe the man is not going to come tomorrow. Maybe I won't have a parnassa tomorrow. But I'm seeing him in Mason Barov, and we see that everybody, while he's waiting, and he's thinking that we're all going to die. We're going to die from hunger. So let it be Hashem. The person cries out, that the man should come down. And this, what comes out as a result of this. And if you take this advice, it's very strong. You have to turn your faith to heaven. Ayin Sham. You call Chasiva Hashem Yisbarach Misavev Ima Adam, because all those things, those circumstances that are constantly surrounding a person and changing and going over paratias, Parnassa, and specifically about what it takes to make a living. The whole thing came as a result of it, comes as a result that if you can pour yourself, stream yourself as Atzbach Yisbarach yourself to Hashem. He said, look in Kutim around Chelik Beis Simon Taz. Shadaika said specifically, the circumstances that are constantly changing and going around you, in which you are struck. And in other words, things are constantly changing and not going the way he wants. And immediately he doesn't get it. That through this you can find your way to the greatness of Hashem Yisbarach. Also, lo lipo bedata klal, a person's his heart should not sink. Whatever it would be. So if a person can get a job which is a kosher job, something he can be honest with. If it can get a job in something which is Jewish. The rabbi said again in Sifri in Parshas Rei, Hashem will bless you. So you made this up, but you just sit there doing nothing. But it has to be something, you have to have an essay. You have to have something you do that could be, that you need a bracha for. So like the rabbis publicize, these holy rabbis, that there has to be some work. You have to work. You can't sit and wait for it to come to you. Even though you're praying, you have to go out and work. V'humanos, so the great people, he's going to go into the v'humanos and some craftsmanship. V'enitzarek ma'acherim, where you don't need other people. V'amro, this is Gemara in the Dharam. Gedula malacha shemekavedes says by lecho. So great is work because it brings honor onto those who possess it. Ayin Sham. So we also find the Tanoim, the Amoraim, the people of the Talmud and the Mishnah. They all had some kind of a job. He cut down trees. Maybe he's a carpenter. Rabbi Chanina, he sewed shoes. Rabbi Chanina. So he says, and then Rabbi Yehuda Nachman was a baker. Rabbi Yochanan Sandler. So we see all of this in different places. Yosef ben Chalafta over the Oros, he was a tanner. Rabbi Meir a lavler was a lavler. What is a lavler? I forget. Right, lavler. I forget. Rabbi Rav Sheshus the Nose Koros, he would carry beams, different beams. Abba Dam, he was a doctor. In those days there used to be bloodletters. Abba Chelkir Besada, he used to plow in the fields. So there you see that all of the Tanoim of the Amoraim, they all work. Okay, so therefore, Aselo, it's forbidden for a person. Lipol Badato means give up hope because you're having so much trouble. So certainly you shouldn't say, well, it's not fit for me to be able to do this kind of work. So that's for a person that he can't find what to do. He can't find the job. But don't push yourself. Don't push yourself. Now this is an idea that's contrary to the concept of APAYIM, which is patience. Patience and prayer. Effort. These are the things that Rav SCHICK is talking about. The rabbi said in Brachos, anyone who pushes time, in other words, becomes a pusher instead of being patient. The time will push him back. So a person in seeking Parnassa has to wait. He has to bear a tremendous amount. Because every man has a moment. Only because a lot of times when your moment would come, when you actually can, because you're so pushing yourself, and so impatient. That's the right word. The person is so impatient that he loses that time because of the impatience that he has at that time. He needs to get it done now. Now, this is an idea that he has. So he says that person could think like this: I'm not doing well. I'll go over to XYZ city. I'll travel to Israel. I'll go over here and I'll raise money. And you see a lot of people raising money all the time. And you see that Rav SCHICK is very much against this. To really go away from your home in order to raise money in a foreign land. And he just says like this: Mikal Shechem, when it comes to the person starts thinking the haflig wants to separate himself, the merchakim, to distant places, v'lahafkir atzmo me'olam hazeh, and just, it could be, and to just abandon himself from this world, the me'olam haba, b'shvil Parnassa, for the face of seeking Parnassa. This is more difficult than even poverty. Because the person is married, if he's married, and then he leaves behind a wife and children. And he travels all over the world, down to South America and all around. And during those trips, very difficult. All different kinds of tests come to those persons. The person is alone and lonely. She's now sitting like a widow. And her mazel, she cries about her mazel. She doesn't have a husband. And the children cry like orphans, Chaim, with a living orphan. They don't have a father who can look out for them. And they eat by borrowing money. So then when a person starts borrowing money, he said, then he gets so piled up on his debts. So it's bitter for him, whether it's in the house, outside of the house. And the person gets in such a depression that he really would rather be dead. That's it. A little bit of this book, Patience, ERICH APAYIM, based on the Torah of Rabbi NACHMAN ben BRESLOV, written by Rabbi ELIEZER SHLOMO SCHICK.